Okay, so here I am today on the shoreline of Okanagan Lake. Happens to be where I live, and it's a beautiful place to live and to photograph. Today I'm talking to you about the new Kase K9 system, the entry-level system as it is identified in their store, and it's pretty slick actually. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take some photographs of the Okanagan Lake, and I'm going to just show you what the difference is between the polarizer and then how you can enhance your photo by using a graduated neutral density, and even further by using a neutral density. So I've always been a believer that you should create the best possible shot in the camera and spend less time in front of your computer with Photoshop, and by using filters it is definitely the way to go. You'll end up with a larger file, you'll end up with a better file, and I would strongly recommend, if you don't use filters now, that you should start. So this system, I'll just show you how it works. This is the magnetic screw-on adapter that just goes on the front of your lens. It comes in two sizes in the kit, a 77 and an 82. And it screws onto the front just like you would screw on a circular filter. Once it's on, you just tighten it down. Don't over tighten it, but make it snug. And at that point, you're able to install the Kase K9 holder. Now this holder is a redesigned holder as of November of 2019. And Kase has done a tremendous job in manufacturing this product. This holder is aluminum, and it has an attachment on it for two sleeves. So it simply just sits on the front of the magnetic, and on the side of the holder is a small dial or a tensioner that you can just tighten down. And it allows you, if you take it a quarter of a turn, it allows you to be able to move the holder however you want. I find that to be an incredibly quick system to use, because I always leave this ring on my lenses, so my filters are easy to set up when I get to the field. It's just one less step. From that point on, you can have a look at the Kase magnetic filter. It's a really high-end polarizer, and it has works with the magnetic holder, and it simply just clicks on into place. It takes it out of your hand. The magnet is strong enough to do that. On the side of the Kase K9 holder is a dial that they've designed so that you can actually control your polarizer even after your neutral density and graduated neutral density filters are put on in front. So that's a feature that is, in my opinion, very good. It's very smart for them to come up with that. It's always been a problem with circular polarizers, that you have to dial them and then remember where the writing is on the side when you start stacking different filters. Now, another thing that's nice about this is that this is a very large opening, and the more filters that you do put on, you don't get any vignetting, because it is a nice large opening that sits in front of the lens. So as you stack your filters, you won't get any vignetting, which is another big bonus. Once the circular polarizer is on, you would dial it to your liking with the scene. And throughout this video, I will add still photos of a photograph without any filters, a photograph with only the polarizer, photograph with a polarizer and an ND, and then again one with a polarizer and a graduated ND and an ND. So you can just see the difference in how filters can work for you. One of the nice things about filters is, especially when you're working with the neutral densities, that allows you to create a longer exposure, so you can decide what kind of timelines you want your exposure to be by putting different densities in front of the lens. This type of stuff will set you apart from other photographers simply because you are in total control at that point. The ability to make the lake look flat or to show detail in the waves, that becomes your choice, and you can completely control that. Now, if you think about it for a minute, if you were to try and knock this lake flat, there's probably something you could do in Photoshop that would give you that effect, but I doubt it would give it to you in the same manner. I've never tried it. I'm not a big post-production fan, so I learned 40 plus years ago shooting film cameras, and I learned filters back then, and I've continued the use of those filters onto my digital cameras. So there's a number of things that'll help you enhance your landscape photography, and this is another one. It's a wired remote. I have wireless as well as wired. They both work very well. If you don't have a remote, when you go to take your shot, set your self timer on it, because it'll add some time and eliminate any shake that occurred when you actually push the shutter button down. In addition to that, very, very important part of landscape photography is the tripod. This is an area where you don't want to scrimp, spend extra money and buy a really good tripod. This tripod I've had for a number of years. It's gone through 3 cameras. So just to give you an idea that if you buy a tripod, it's likely going to be with you for your lifetime. This works as good as the day I bought it. I've never had to replace any parts on it. And it's lightweight, and it travels good, and carries a lot. It can carry a lot of weight, 60 pounds. This one is designed for, so I can use it for my bigger lenses. Another nice thing about this is I have a hydraulic head on it, and the hydraulic head is exceptional. But you'll also notice that I don't have a center column. With landscape photography, I like to be able to be certain that my tripod is as stable as it can be. A lot of times I'll be shooting very long exposures, and any sort of camera movement will destroy the image. So I've found over the years that if I buy tripods that don't have center columns, they have a tendency to be a little bit more stable and less vibration. Right underneath the center of this, there's a spot where you can actually hang extra weight. I typically hang about 10 pounds on it, particularly if it's windy out. I'll add that 10-pound weight to it, which will help stabilize it. It just kind of sets it down into the ground and gives it more stability. One of the other things that I always do for landscape photography is there's an actuation in the camera that you can lift your mirror up. So I always shoot with my mirror up. Again, it's a vibration thing, and it's just way better if your mirror's up and out of the way. There's less chance for that vibration when that mirror slaps down back in the camera. So I like the mirror up. I like it on a good sturdy tripod. I like to use a wired or wireless remote, and then I use my filters and decide at that point in time as to what I want to create, how I want it to look. And because I'm in total control with the filters, it gives me that opportunity to create my own art. As a fine art landscape photographer, you could line up 30 photographers here with 30 different systems, and everybody's going to go away with something different. That's the really nice thing about it, is that you're able to create whatever you want, and your creation is done through the use of filters. So once the polarizer is on, like I say, you would just simply dial it, look at your scene and dial it to the effect that you're looking for. And at that point in time, you can just add in your graduated neutral densities filters to the setting that again you're looking for. If you want, you can add an ND on in front of that, and then that gives you a very long exposure. This is a 6-stop, a 3-stop, and a 1-stop circular polarizer. So I'm dealing with a total of 10 stops with this setup. Of course, there's additional brackets that can screw onto the front of this that you can add additional filters to, which will get you into some incredibly long exposures, 3, 4, 5 minutes or longer during the daytime. So I hope you enjoyed my video today, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I do workshops regularly all the time. If it's something you'd like to take, feel free to let me know, and we can either do it online or in person.